Wine Raven, and I am so excited to bring you the Copper Door B&B here in part of Miami called Overtown, and wait till you hear the backstory on this. So we're about to talk to the owner, Jamila Ross, and she's going to show me around. So come on in, I'm going to mask up and let's go. Hi, Jamila.
Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. How are you doing today? Why don't we sit down and you can tell me a little bit about the property and the history?
Sure.
So I understand that you come from a hotel hospitality background, so tell me a little bit about that.
Right, yeah. My partner Kino and I probably have around 15 years of food and beverage experience. Me personally within boutique hotels and front of house management. Kino mainly in back of house and kind of culinary perspective. He's worked for Michelin star restaurants. We both have traveled internationally as individuals with career in mind. I've been an expat before. Kino has worked in Copenhagen, Denmark. So yeah, it's a cool component to our guest experience to be so well traveled and want to constantly talk about food and beverage. So the space has a really great story. The original owner, his name's Jimmy Dimitri. Many of our guest rooms were previously used as either kind of like gambling rooms or a brothel to some degree. This type of energy in Miami during the 50s and 60s was common. Yeah. During Prohibition era, these things were very common. So it just lends to the historical and the genuineness, right, of like being
the authenticity,
right, of being this type of establishment during that type of time. Like it's what went on. So it's interesting for us to have a building this old. It had been vacant for about 30 years. It was built in 1942, and we come across like odds and ends and random things all the time. Bullet shells to like liquor bottles that, you know, are clearly from the 20s.
Hypothetically, if I were to come back and stay here, how are your biscuits and grits, which are two of my favorites? Cornbread, anything going on like that on here?
Our buttermilk biscuits are outstanding.
Say no more.
Yeah, they're out of this
I'm checking
world.
in.
Yeah, for sure. And we serve what we call southern polenta, so it's a combination of white cornmeal grits along with fine yellow corn meal, which is what Italians eat, and we incorporate both, and it creates a very kind of silky, smooth, buttery goodness that you want first thing in the morning.
You're making me hungry.
Pre-COVID, all of our guest experience included breakfast. Upon check-in, guests would reserve a time slot, and here in the lobby where we would host breakfast every morning. The refinished dresser there on the left, it used to be our hot beverage station, and the community style table that you have here in the center is where we would, where 10 guests at a time would dine each and every morning. So with COVID, and with the devastation that brought, we had to eliminate breakfast altogether temporarily to some degree.
Thank you so much for telling me about the story, and now let's take a look.
Yeah. Within the 22 rooms, we have a combination of full, queen, and king size suites. I'm going to show you room 8.
Are these wood floors original?
They are original. We refinished them. They were carpeted literally wall to wall throughout the entire space. After you.
It's already so cheery. I haven't even walked in yet.
You feel the
this
glow.
This is such a happy place, Jamila.
It is. Each of our rooms are uniquely different from a design perspective. Every single room has different pieces of furniture that have been hand selected for that particular room. There are some nuances that are standard, like certain light fixtures, of course. We love, to your point, how each room really does bring on a different feel, a different vibe, which is special.
Each one has a character of its own. Okay,
Absolutely.
Let's start with the wall.
Of course.
Is that hand painted?
I wish.
Okay.
It's a wallpaper. With the fact that we're a bed and breakfast, we really try to stay true to what that means, right? And typically in a bed and breakfast setting, it's kind of grandma's house, if you will, lots of florals, sometimes a little too much. We've tried to recreate that as elegantly and as much modern kind of perspective as possible. As you continue to look at it, you'll notice different details. On one particular flower, there's like a little field of ants. You notice close up, and then far away you get obviously the reds, and then as you look closer you realize that deep blue in the background kind of like brings everything together. It's a really fun piece.
I was just gonna say, it's so fun.
We do a great deal of thrifting on a regular basis. Cool. Throughout different rooms, there's little knickknacks that just lend to kind of Cuban American and Miami vibes, so a lot of vintage cameras, little cigar boxes, things like that. So we kind of embellish the rooms with.
And what about the lighting?
When it comes to lighting, we get all this natural sunlight, right? So we just kind of added in kind of moderate, warm lighting to all of the fixtures along with the nightstands, just to give a little bit of warmth to the space because you get so much of that natural bright light coming in.
The bathroom
Should we look at the
looks
bathroom?
like, yeah.
What we did was we took the original style of the tile and had them redo it. So this is new tile, but done in the way that it originally was. And then we've obviously paired that with the modern touch when it comes to the glass panel shower, opposed to the curtains and things like that. We have a beautiful Art Deco kind of fixture there.
I love that fixture so much.
Isn't it pretty?
Oh, I love it in this tile. I love so much. For me, a black and white palette is just like that. That is my aesthetic.
Can't go wrong.
What's your price point here? What does it
Yeah.
cost to spend the night here,
Sure.
in season and out of season?
Absolutely. So in season right now, in season is completely different given the obvious, but in season pricing ranges from $75 to $100 per night. And that's of course with the discount at Rosie's. And off season, you're looking anywhere from $50 to $65.
Well, that makes it so accessible.
Yeah.
You've seen crown molding like this before?
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
When you walk into the lobby, it isn't until you look up that you notice it. Obviously, it has always been here, but it has this kind of nuance of just a little bit of elegance that's really quite special.
And you can't find crown molding like that these days.
No, it would cost a pretty penny to get something like this installed today. So, and the same with the terrazzo, of course. We're lucky to have it. So.
It's beautiful, and just looking at the detail of the crown molding,
Right.
you can tell the authenticity of it because it just has that little bit of imperfection, which
Right.
is what makes it so perfect.
Of course. Well, it was such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very
I
welcome.
wish you so much success.
Thank you. Really, we appreciate
And
it.
if it wasn't COVID, I would give you a big
I
hug.
know. We'll pound it.
Pound it out. Okay.
See you next
Bye.
time.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
You're so welcome. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.